Seattle, for a half-century, Boeing Co. Mechanics in a sprawling factory north of Seattle have riveted together aluminum panels into the familiar humpbacked form of the 747 jumbo jet. Test pilots then put each new plane through its paces on an adjacent airstrip before sending it off to roam the globe. This aeroplane, more than any other, made long-range travel into a mass-market phenomenon. And on Monday, one of the jets born here returned home. Delta Airlines Inc. flew a 747 filled with employees and customers from its Detroit hub to Boeing's plant in Everett, Washington. It was the first in a series of farewell flights to Delta hubs this week, marking the end of the airliner's U.S. passenger service. For those aboard, it was a rare opportunity to touch down on the same runway from which the first 747 lifted skyward on February 9, 1969. On the ground, Boeing workers who helped build 747-400s like the returning Delta plane celebrated an aviation milestone. But there's poignancy to the moment. With just 14 unfilled orders in Boeing's backlog, four-engine aircraft appears to have fallen out of favor. The future isn't bright for jumbo jetliners such as the old 747. For a morning, at least, Delta and Boeing set aside their differences to bask in nostalgia. Just last week, Delta ordered 100 jets from Airbus, Boeing's rival, and a trade fight between the U.S. jet maker and Bombardier Inc. threatens to foul up a separate deal that's key to Delta's fleet plans. There were those aboard Monday's farewell to passengers flight who came of age with the 747. The plane's hulking wings, and, for children riding on Pan Am in the 1970s heyday, those captains' wingpins, symbolized access for millions of us to foreign lands not easily reached by telephones of the era. A generation came to learn the aircraft's quirks, such as the jet's bulbous nose and swept wings and the vibrations during the takeoff roll that caused overstuffed luggage bins to pop open on early models. There was also the fascination, never lost for some, of ascending a staircase to ride high above the world in the bubble, the deck behind the cockpit. Delta Flight 9771 rumbled down the runway and lifted into the air at 7:47 a.m. on Monday in Detroit, the first flight on a farewell tour this week, with stops planned at Delta strongholds in Seattle, Atlanta, Minneapolis and Los Angeles. The aircraft will ferry NFL and college football teams in late December before making a final ferry flight to the desert in January. To win a seat on Monday's charter flight, Delta customers bid frequent flyer miles, while employees and retirees entered an internal lottery, with selection based in part on seniority and personal connection to the 747 fleet. The celebration on board was low-key, more a reunion of old friends than the boisterous parties that sometimes mark commemorative flights. The 4.5-hour journey provided many on board a chance to relive old times, especially for those who had plied trans-Pacific routes for Northwest Airlines prior to the merger. There was a throwback meal service, hot breakfast followed by a light lunch, and a 747-centric trivia quiz.